Hey guys, I want to start this video off with a small disclaimer. The next couple steps we're going to be taking with the car, we are going to be depinning wires and changing kind of how some of the electronics work, especially with regards to the clock spring and the steering wheel. That means it's going to impact your airbags. If you don't know what you're doing at this point, I want you to be very, very careful, or maybe even consider stopping the project at this point. Doing what we're going to be doing in the next couple steps will have an impact on whether or not your airbags work if you do it incorrectly. So, guys, please be safe, know your own skills, and make a decision whether or not you want to proceed from here. All right, guys, I'm going to take you on a quick video on how to depin a connector. In the case of this, it is specifically the clock spring connector for the S197 Mustang. So the first thing you're going to want to do, at least on this particular connector, is take this red cap out. So what I do is I'm going to lift on each side. There are little tabs that hold it in. So I'm just going to reach and I'm going to lift them out with my thumbnail. Now it'll pop out about maybe 1/4 of an inch. On this particular one, I'm going to want to take it completely out in order to access the spots for the pin. So I'm going to do it again. One little lift, this cap comes out. Try not to break it. Okay? Now, that is going to give you access. I've already taken one of these pins out, but I felt this would be a good opportunity. If you look closely inside of here, above each one of these little terminals, in the back, there is a little latch. So if you could imagine, the latch in the back looks kind of like this. And the terminal has like a little square sticking like this. So what happens is you slide the terminal in and it latches. So then when you go to pull it out, it doesn't come out. Your job with your pick is going to be to lift this latch up so you can slide the terminal out. Okay, so that's what I'm going to try to do. They sell a lot of these things which are like keys for depinning connectors. For this particular connector, I am going to use this thin one right here because that's going to give me the ability to get all the way down in there and lift it. If that doesn't work, I also have this one here, which is also thin, but has a little bit of a lip on the end. So maybe I'll just use that one. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to try to do this on camera without getting in the way, is I'm going to slide first. I'm going to pick which one I want to take out. In this case, I'm going to go with the very next one here. I'm going to slide this down inside, all the way down to the end. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get it under that tab in the back. Now, while holding it, I'm going to then pull on the wire. Don't pull too hard. You'll know because it's going to slide right out if you got it. So I'm going to try this again. Okay, there it goes. See, it slid right out. If you look closely, that little nub you can see there on the top is what I was talking about, where that latch comes down and you can't pull it out. So you just want to do that. If you're going to depin a connector, you're basically just going to want to do it with every single one of those. So that's it, guys. I hope that was an easy tutorial for depinning a connector. And I'll catch you in the next one. See ya. Hey guys, quick part, whatever. Don't be like me. Disconnect the battery when you're going to depin this connector. Halfway through doing it, apparently I had let the horn and ground terminals kind of touch and rest on each other. And then I was panicking and it sounded like someone was playing a crazy song with my horn. So don't be like me. Disconnect the battery and depin your connectors after you've disconnected the battery. All right, guys, for this next part, we're going to be repinning this connector. Now, I bought this 16-pin Tyco Electronics connector, and what I've done is I've taken the original clock spring connector off. This is the connector for a C227A. I've taken it off of here. I've made myself an interconnect, And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have all that pinned up so it plugs in here, and it basically splits into a Y. This one is going to plug into the S197 clock spring. This is going to sort of plug into the S550 clock spring. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to use all of these pins and pin them into this 16 pin or these terminals and put them in this 16 pin connector. Now what I have done, it may be difficult to see, but what I've done is when I created this harness, I did it in such a way that I used different color wires so that once I plug these in, I have the correct wire orientation here. All right, let's take a quick break because I need the pictures. Now what I've done, if you couldn't realize, is that I took a picture before I depin the original connector. So I'm trying to match up the colors as I go through them. Now my issue is I have two white 26 gauge wires. That's actually in the wiring diagram. So I am going to wait till last to put those in, because that is something that I really don't know where that goes. I think I may have put one wire in the wrong place. I think I put this one in the wrong spot. I think. I don't know. It's purple and white. I don't have that unless I put it in somewhere else by accident. This green goes here. So the most critical ones to make sure we get right are the airbags, right? Everything else in the clock spring is the horn, the illumination, the controls. Those are all the ones I'm not so worried about. The ones I want to make sure I get absolutely 100% correct are my airbags. Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to like wire this up incorrectly and falsely trigger them, and then all of a sudden I will have much bigger problems in my life than this project. So we have a light gray. So for certain, I know I put something in incorrectly. I just have to figure out what it is. All right, guys, not exactly what I want to do, but I think I'm going to have to bust out the multimeter and do some testing on this. I may or may not show that to you. I don't know, but catch you in a few. All right, guys, so quick update here. I hope you've watched the full video up until now. You haven't been skipping around. Don't be like me from about 5, 6, 7 minutes ago. Do not just depin your connector and hope that you're going to get the connectors in the right place. The issue with that is that there are several wires in your connector that are white. You have 120 gauge white wire, you have 122 gauge wire, and you have 226 gauge white wires. Each of those wires are a different function. The 20 gauge wire, I believe, goes to your airbags. The 22 gauge wire, I want to say it probably has to do with the cruise control. I can't remember. And then the 222 gauge wires, one goes to your cluster. It controls the D-pad. The other 22 gauge wire is for your Bluetooth controls. And if you mix those wires up, when you are depinning the connector, you're not going to know which part of the connector to put them back into. Okay. What I had to do, because I did that, was I literally had to tear the car apart to trace back which wires go where, because also the color starts to fade a little bit, so it gets a little hard to match it up. So I had to tear out the center console to get to the airbag, the restraint control module, and match up those wires. I tested continuity from my harness all the way down into I unplugged the harness from the restraint control module and was checking to make sure I got the wires right. Then I had to take my instrument cluster out and check the continuity between the harness or the little terminals that I had depinned to the connector in the back of that. I had to take the glove box out to check the APIM, the accessory protocol interface module. I think it's called the APIM. That's underneath your glove box, and it's connected in the back there. So then I was testing continuity of the pins to that. Don't be like me. When you depin your connectors, just have some sort of a white masking tape or something. And each pin you take out, mark it down. Pin 1, pin 2, pin 3, so that you know when it's time to put it back in, you can put it back in nice, no problems, and not have any issues. Now I'm going to take you over here and show you guys what I've done so far. I created my separate little harness, and what I did was I unplugged my clock spring. Well, my clock spring was unplugged, and if you look here is the original wire that went down here and originally had the clock spring connector on here. What I did was I actually used the C202 connector. I bought some extra on Mouser or a DigiKey. I'll go and I'll unplug that so you guys can see it. So this is the same connector that actually goes into your wipers. I just bought spares, male and female. So then I have my harness here that creates a Y, a bend of a Y, if you look here. So now I have this, which will go into my S197 clock spring, and this, which will sort of go into my S550 clock spring, as I mentioned before. And if we take a look here, I'm going to plug this in. I will plug this in eventually. Okay. All right. I'm going to tuck that a little bit in the back there, right? And so you can see here what will eventually happen if I want to stick with the S197 is once I put the shroud on, you know, this will get tucked up here and it will disappear and no one will see it. But if I start the car, turn the car on, I want to make sure that my controls, that everything works. So I'll just quickly take my D-pad. I'll navigate through. Yep, my controls all work. Cruise control on and off. Okay, that works. My audio controls. Yep, my audio controls work. So we know that my pinning or my interconnect harness is working nicely. There's no issues with that. So that is something that worked out for me. So now I can quickly hot swap this, and when I'm ready, I'll just plug my harness directly in here and take my steering wheel and my switches off, and I'll be cruising. So thank you very much, guys, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya.